Now, it may sound like a strange question, but if we have to look at ourselves and say, what does it mean to be human? We all understand humanness because we all share that. But we start looking at it from an objective standpoint and start to look at it as marketers looking at other people and identifying what makes them tick. We come up with some different answers, some unique perspectives that I wanted to share with you. So first of all, let's get away from the consumer experience here. We're going to make this the human experience for a while. And let's identify what makes us human and what makes us tick and what makes us behave the way that we do. And a lot of it really is based on behavior. I mean, as human beings, we can be very complex, but in some other ways, we are pretty predictable in how we're going to behave to certain things. Like, for example, most of us don't run toward a burning building. Most of us, if an explosion happens next to us, are going to jump voluntarily or involuntarily. It doesn't matter. We're designed in a certain way to be self-preserving. We want to make sure that we stay alive. And so the first thing we generally do, what we're really motivated by, are things that will allow us to stay healthy. But we also have a lot of biological drive that is helping us. For example, if you've ever tried to stay awake for like 40 hours, eventually your brain just says, okay, we've had enough of this malarkey, and it's going to turn you off and you're going to go to sleep whether you want to or not. It's like trying to hold your breath. You can only hold it for so long, and then you're going to start breathing again. So biologically, we have a lot of things that are constantly driving us forward. We're driven by the need for food. We're driven by the need for sleep or for water. We're also driven by the need for sex or love. So all of these things are constantly part of who we are. And once again, if we look at a large group of people, one of the predictions I can make about just about anyone I run into on a regular basis is that at some point in the next 24 hours, they're going to be asleep. At some point, probably in the next 24 hours, one hopes, they're going to have some sort of food to eat or something to drink. So these are not huge predictions, and it's not from a marketing standpoint a deep, dark mystery. But what it allows us to do as marketers in general is to go out there and understand that people are driven. We are driven by a lot of these biological needs. And so being able to identify what these needs are also helps us to identify how we're going to behave in certain circumstances. So let's take a look at some of the possibilities that we have here. For starters, let's talk about kind of the core of who we are and how we got here. In the 1940s, a behavioral psychologist named Abraham Maslow put out what he referred to as hierarchy of needs. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one of these models that has been around for a number of years. And it really kind of deals with the humanness of humans. And what Maslow's theory is that we all have needs. However, whether those needs are being met or not is going to determine whether or not we open up to additional needs. And at the base of this pyramid that he put out there was what he referred to as the physiological needs. And physiological needs are the things that keep us alive. It's food, it's water, it's air, it's sleep, it's a number of different things that we really can't escape from. It's something we truly have the need for. And the way Maslow looked at this is that if these needs are being met, then we can go up to the next tier and deal with those needs. And if those needs are being met, we can go to the next tier and deal with those needs. Now, at the fundamental level, if you have enough water and you have enough food and you have enough shelter and you have enough love or whatever, then you can start to focus on other things. However, if you don't have enough food, your brain is going to constantly remind you don't have enough food. And you're going to be thinking about very little other than the fact that I need to get some food in my body, or I need to get something to drink, or I need to go to sleep, or whatever it is. And so it has a tendency, if it's not being met, to be the loudest voice that you hear. Now, fortunately, most of us live in a society where getting enough food on a regular basis, getting enough to drink on a regular basis, getting enough sleep are not general problems. So we have those fundamental physiological needs being taken care of, and then we can start looking at safety needs. And safety needs in this case are things like shelter, some clothing to wear to make sure that we protect our bodies, a place to sleep at night to keep us from the elements and from harm, and of course making sure that other people or other things don't hurt us, that kind of thing. And once those needs have been established, then we can move up to the idea of belonging and love and our place in society. And so, okay, I've got a place to stay, I've got food in my belly, I'm feeling pretty good. Hey, you know what? I could use being loved. That'd be something that'd be really useful in my life. So we start to strive for that, So as we establish these different things, then we can start moving up to the next level. Okay, esteem needs. And esteem needs are a big part of what drives society. Very few people want to be hated. Very few people want to be on the periphery. They're cranky old hermit who lives on the edge of town. Most people want to be part of society. They want to participate, but it's also very important to them that they are recognized by other people as being competent, They have esteem needs. They want to make sure that their esteem and how they're projected and how they're thought of by other people are positive. And by the way, if you don't believe this, just remember what it was like to be about 19 years old. What other people thought of you really matters at certain ages. Okay, as you get older, you find that you get probably less and less concerned. But for the most part, yeah, we really do care what other people think about us a lot. Certainly more than other people are thinking about us, let me put it that way. So when we isolate some of these human factors, what does this really mean in the long run? Well, one of the challenges that we have when we start to talk about behavior, especially when we're trying to predict what consumers are going to do, is that we don't necessarily know what a consumer is going through. I don't know what your needs are. I don't know if you need a new car. You may have just bought a car last week, which means that you're probably the least qualified person to want to buy a car today. Or maybe your car is just, a smoldering wreck from an accident you had yesterday and you really need a new car. Whatever it is, I need to go and put some feelers out there and identify what it is that makes you tick. For the most part, human beings are complex, and we'll give ourselves credit for being big thinkers. But at its core level, most human beings are very easy to predict their behaviors because we really behave based upon one of two principles. And the first one is, we will do whatever we can to avoid loss or to avoid pain. We are programmed to not want to hurt. It keeps us alive, which is a huge plus, but also we don't like the emotional pain. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like people hating me. I don't like whatever it is. I will do whatever I can to make sure that I don't suffer from whatever I'm doing. And on the other side is that we will do whatever we can to maximize gain and pleasure. So we have this pain-pleasure relationship, and every single decision we make all day long is based upon one of these two factors. Now, they're not all earth-shattering. It's not all life or death. It could be, do I want a turkey sandwich today, or do I want to have a hamburger? Well, I had a hamburger yesterday. I'll have the turkey. Maybe it's just, I'll have the hamburger because I like hamburgers more than I like turkey sandwiches, and that's a pleasure center. So however we do this. So we're constantly looking for what makes us happy as people. And of course, as consumers, that carries over. Why do we buy what we buy? Well, because oftentimes it makes us feel good. We'll talk a lot more about this in a few minutes, but feeling good is a huge part of why we consume, why we react to certain offers, because we like feeling good. Very few people want to feel bad. Instead, we want to do whatever we can to maximize pleasure all day long.